mid-infrared range is a longer wavelength range. So we have the visible line, then we have the near-infrared, where you have all the communication, the optical communication going, and then you talk about the mid-infrared. And this is the range that is accessible, as I said, to look at molecular vibrations, to look at other kind of absorption events that will tell you what kind of material you have, or in the air, pollutants, as I said, toxins or things like this in the air. So this is the range that's important. It's very hard to make devices that access the whole area. It's a very long wavelength range. And so, for instance, you have for 9 micron, you have what is called a CO2 laser. So, but this is a very big and bulky laser. So people have then moved to smaller devices like quantum cascade lasers, and they utilize smaller ranges. Now, with the method that of comb generation, you can actually, within a nonlinear regime, you can generate in materials a range of wavelengths. So they actually have peaks of emission that will actually give you then a light source. So you have, instead of a spectrometer that scans over the whole wavelength range, now you have actually a light source that gives you all the wavelengths at once. And so then you can, on the other side, determine to detect certain ranges of wavelengths, and that will give you the information of your toxins or of your pollutants that you're looking at. Often you have to actually utilize some materials properties that people have not utilized yet. Let me just give you an example. We've been working on a germanium laser. Now, germanium is an indirect bandgap material. And if you look into textbooks, they'll tell you that indirect semiconductor materials will not laze. So, but if you then take a second look at germanium, you find actually that the indirect and the direct bandgap are very close together. Now, direct bandgap devices like gallium arsenide, indium phosphide, and these compounds, they're bright light sources, lasers, you know, LEDs, everything is made from them. So if you then say, okay, if I ignore this indirect bandgap from germanium and access directly the direct bandgap, then maybe I get a laser. And so that's what we've done. So the material is there, but you have to come up with new concept in order to access some of the possibilities of those materials. To actually access the direct bandgap of the germanium, we had to do two things. We had to strain the material, and we had to highly dope it. So these two things will actually allow you to push the indirect and direct bandgap close enough so that you get a spillover from electrons in the indirect bandgap into the direct bandgap. And then you open actually this recombination path that will give you the light emission.